of 2009. Hazard. Now Willian. Chelsea last won the trophy in 2012, but in the following 2 seasons were knocked out each time by Manchester City.
There's a player that's been in tremendous form, Willian, even against PSG. He gave Verratti and Thiago Motta a really hard time when he started running with the ball. Looks as though Chelsea are going to try and press high up the field to stop Man City playing out from the back. Caballero is going to have to go long with this first kick.
Well, he hates missing out, and he's still one appearance away from 700 for Chelsea. And of course, he's made it public that Chelsea haven't, as yet, and maybe will not, offer a new contract for next season. The captain, leader, legend, as the banner always states here, John Terry is to the supporters, not quite to the ownership at the moment. Yo-yo trying to knock it long. So it's Gary Cahill and Branislav Ivanovic as the central defensive pairing. Baba Rahman at left back and Cesar Azpilicueta, who's pushed forward here ahead of Fabregas, who is playing in his natural position of right back, which he hasn't been able to occupy too often because Ivanovic has been out there. It's been Terry and Zuma in the centre of the defence mostly, both of them injured. Zuma for a long time, sadly. Hazard trying to link with Costa, made by Manu Garcia, and then Alish Garcia playing his part as well. They're 2 Spaniards but not related. Garcia, a very common name in Spain. And here is Farpala. This could be a sensational start for the forward who's just turned 19 from France. Nicely to Fernando. From Kolarov to Demichelis.
What a good bit of play it was by Farpala. Saw him playing the European Championships at junior level. Certainly is a real talent. Plenty of pace. He's got a bit of trickery as well.
Fabregas. Nicely done by Kolarov. It's as though Manuel Pellegrini's just said, go on, go out and express yourselves and see where that takes us. Kolarov loves to get forward, of course. Salina towards Iheanacho, who scored 3 at Aston Villa in the last round. Draw hasn't been too kind to City, has it, Stuart? Because they were away to Norwich, Premier League team, away to Villa. A back pass for Caballero to deal with, but he did deal with it. And now away to Chelsea.
Yeah, it's been difficult for them. What was a good sign there? Yo-yo looks as though he's got real pace, the centre-back, up against Diego Costa. The ball was played over the top, and we've seen in recent times that Diego Costa has looked a lot quicker and a lot sharper. It's good from the centre-back.
That's good work there from Alish Garcia too, and the pass. Not quite linking up with the Farpala that time.
French international. And they are going to play with 2 up front. It does mean there's going to be a lot of pressure on Garcia and Fernando in that central midfield area. Alish Garcia started the game well. He's played round pressure. What a good moment this was. Miscontrols the ball there. Just sends Cahill the wrong way. Chops it back across him. A little nutmeg there. Tries to go in at the near post. Courtois was ready for it. It's also a good height for the goalkeeper.
Fabregas. Azpilicueta and Diego Costa have been masked up recently because of facial injuries. And several other Chelsea players in recent months as well. Of course, they didn't calling them a team of Zorros.
Going back to Azpilicueta, I thought he had a great game against PSG. He was often outnumbered. As the right back, Pedro tried to work hard with him. I thought that Hiddink would bring back Matic into the team for this match. Fabregas defended poorly against PSG.
There's Pedro trying to do a bit of defending from the front over on that far side. Thibaut Courtois making sure he kept his distance from Ivanovic. Willian. A bit of rain over the weekend here in the London area. Premier League pitches train so well these days. It's quite a mild afternoon. A bit premature to say a hint of spring, but we're all hoping. Iheanacho. Fabregas, sorry Stuart.
Front two trying to link up with each other. It's a good ball played in by Zabaleta to start with. Iheanacho looking to run in behind. It's a good start by Man City.
Just spun to stay in for Hazard. Willian. Same team but very different circumstances for Chelsea to Tuesday night, where they were on the back foot for much of the evening, defended pretty purposefully. Not so purposeful there from Ivanovic in the first place, and Cahill says, well, I'll knock it to where they can't score.
At the moment they're trying to attack down this right hand side. Chelsea's left. Baba Rahman loves to get forward. There's been a couple of times where he's been caught high up the field, the ball's been played in behind him. Ivanovic has had to come across and defend big areas. Zabaleta played a brilliant ball down the line not so long ago.
Zabaleta was a substitute when they won the Cup in 2011 and then sent off in the FA Cup final. It's only a small but far from notable list of players who've had red cards on the big day. And they lost to Wigan, of course, which was a real shock. The end of the Roberto Mancini reign.
I think he already knew he was going before that game, didn't he, Roberto Mancini?
Pellegrini has been knowing he's going at the end of the season for a while, and it hasn't helped City to very good results, losing at home to Leicester and then Tottenham. To be fair, two teams above them in the Premier League. Back-to-back home defeats for the first time for over 7 years in league games. Hero's being asked to swing that left boot a bit more often than he wants in these early minutes.
Doesn't look comfortable on his left side. It's his fault. He actually took his touch onto his left foot and looked uncomfortable, chipping it straight into touch. Cahill may have a problem here. Miazga is on the bench.
20-year-old Matt Miazga, signed from New York Red Bulls in the January transfer window. Really one for the future, but his future might be a debut in the next couple of minutes. He's getting ready. Played once for the USA at senior level. The medical men, who neither of whom started the season doing the jobs that they're doing now, as I'm sure you'll remember from the contretemps between Jose Mourinho and then first team physio and doctor at the start of the campaign here. It's a bad omen for the great manager. Pavarapa. Interesting news from Milan this morning, Stuart. One of the directors there, Jose Mourinho, was a guest at the Inter game, and when asked the director about whether Mourinho might be coming to Milan, he said no, he's going to Manchester. And we keep hearing that from every source but an official one, being Manchester United, of course, not Manchester City, who have already inked in Pep Guardiola. Hazard, just a little cameo of how things haven't gone for him this season. To take it on and get to the byline.
When he got past the first challenge, Zabaleta showed him the line. Just took too heavy a touch. hasn't been the same spark about him. That change of pace that he had last year, that change of direction, able to go past people with ease. Just haven't seen it this year.
Won so many individual awards for his contribution to Chelsea winning the title, and indeed the League Cup as well. As judged by Demichelis, Kolarov fighting hard for the right to win the header, and fairly enough, although Diego Costa on the receiving end.
Cahill back on the pitch, looks as though he's okay for the moment. Harry Cahill.
Now goes Mikel, free kick. And Diego Costa, as though got it a bang in the face, maybe below the mask. Let's see.
He almost gets hit on the back of the head, then the arm comes back down from Kolarov. Kolarov jumps early, Diego Costa doesn't jump for it. Not sure there was too much intent from Kolarov. But when you have had a facial injury, any sort of whack on it is going to hurt.
Willian. Hazard. Willian again. It's very dangerous from outside the penalty area. Ivanovic. Cahill looks okay. Azpilicueta. This revamped Manchester City side have got through what can be a testing early spell in the game. The opposition trying to exploit any lack of cohesion.
Certainly got a good shape about there. Defending so far, Man City. When you're looking at Chelsea's options, passing options, don't seem too great at times. Certainly not forward passes.
Here's Pedro. Goes again and hits the post. And they suddenly look vulnerable then. Pedro, they've got a couple of goals here against Newcastle in the last match on this ground. Pumping Chelsea win. Mikel. Fabregas. Spun in by Raman. I'm not sure he was looking to get it on target, but it was a ball that needed smothering away by Caballero.
Well, this is a chance made out of Barcelona here. Square 1-2. Fabregas playing it back into the path of Pedro. Does everything right. It's a good first touch. He just tries to lift it over the goalkeeper. Good play from the wide man.
Fabregas with the corner. Caballero with the catch.
Here it is again, the square 1-2. Fabregas looking one way, then reversing it back into... Caballero actually slipped over as he went to close the ball down. Inside he gets that touch and then just tries to wrap his left foot round it.
He must have thought, the goalkeeper, that when it went past him it was going to end up in the back of the net. Just caught on the lower part of the inside of the foot from Pedro, which he wasn't in total control of the final output.
But a sign that Pedro is beginning to settle in at Chelsea. He worked really hard against PSG in midweek.
He and Fabregas almost inseparable off the pitch as well. It's a friendship that, of course, brings its harmony on the pitch, as we saw just then. He wants to go out in some style, but maybe the FA Cup, I kept using the word priority, or lack of it in this case. And you wouldn't say, I mean, Kiev away is a tough trip. Not necessarily the hardest draw to get at this stage of the Champions League.
You're absolutely right. That's the combination of games with the League Cup final against Liverpool next Sunday.
He has got injured players, but Kevin De Bruyne, of course, who was here at Chelsea for a while. Very surfaced in England at Manchester City, and
Cahill's got a bloody nose here. That challenge of...
We're going to need another mask, do you think?
I think they've got plenty of them spare.
They've all got one. They've all got their numbers on them, so they must have a complete set for the squad. And Cahill's had to wear one in the past as well.
So Parler was the player that went for the challenge. Cahill's got to go off the field again. There's the first challenge. Nothing that the centre forward does wrong there. It's just a good honest leap for the ball.
And the blood regulations very strictly applied these days. And the medical men would say that's absolutely rightly so. Fabregas. And Costa could be here first. Bioyo defending. Probably the most difficult spell he's had in his very short, 16-minute first-team career, but he came out on the right side of it.
And he was a bit unlucky because he won the first ball in the air, then fell to Fabregas, who just played it straight in behind him. Costa was away from him. Almost looks as though he was going to get the better of Di Michelis. With a good recovery run. Bioyo.
Lovely touch from Hazard. He's here again, he's given himself an angle for the shot. Nacho playing a bit deeper than Parler. He can't get his side up the pitch, and here comes Willian. And City grateful for that in the end.
I think Pedro had made his run, then realised he was offside. There's the young centre-back. Michelis comes across. Wins the challenge there, and I think he's absolutely right, the referee, Andre Mariner, not to give the penalty. That's a good challenge. Then he just about wins the ball with that right foot, and Diego Costa was already going to ground before the contact was made. He's off balance here. He's actually just trying to step across the centre-back. Bioyo, and then he has a little look at the referee, Diego Costa.
Clip ball from Manu Garcia. He's working hard, David Fapala. There will be critics of Manchester City here, but there'll be the same critics who say, well, young players don't get enough chance in the game these days. And, all right, only one of the City players are either playing for the first time or starting a game in the first team for the first time. Only one is English. Bioyo, who was also qualified for Nigeria and could still, if you like, make the choice of the land of his fathers, but getting first-team football here, which, if you don't get it at the ages of 17, 18 or 19, maybe you'll never be ready for it if it ever comes later on. It's too much under-21 football against other under-21 teams. It's a man's game, but you've got to be in a first team to show you are a man. Willian.
Greeny's taken a gamble by playing with a young squad, but also playing with two up front, which you'd expect Chelsea to dominate midfield.
Diego Costa, in front of the Manchester City supporters, as you might gather from the reaction from that part of the stadium, the crowd giving Diego Costa a bit of jip, but he's quite used to that. He's the kind of player that you'd call provocative.
I think he'd be disappointed if he wasn't getting a bit of stick off the away fans.
Ivanovic, who has 3 FA Cup winners' medals. Chelsea had a spell of real domination in this competition. They did lose one of the great shocks of last season here to Bradford City in the 4th round. After being 2-0 up, they were beaten 4-2. And it was the end of a run of 27 FA Cup ties at Stamford Bridge without defeat prior to that. One here this season already against Scunthorpe United. Willian. Fabregas waiting on the edge of the area. Trying to squeeze it through for Hazard.
Well, Man City, as they do, when they've got their first choice back four out, as soon as Fabregas took his touch backward, they squeezed up, tried to play offside. Chelsea's front players had to get back onside before Fabregas played the ball forward. It was just too heavy. On that occasion, it was good defending by Man City.
By Hazard. Bioyo did well. And Garcia stopping Chelsea getting forward. Only played once, these two clubs, in the FA Cup here at Stamford Bridge. And it was the season after Chelsea had won the Cup for the first time. They were the holders. It was 1970-71. In the fourth round, City won 3-0. 2 goals from that great midfield player of his time, Colin Bell. And one from Ian Bowyer, not really remembered as a Manchester City player, but more with Nottingham Forest. And of course, he won the league and the European Cup. Fabregas. Zabaleta's header was a bit of a stray one, but it was collected by Selena. Mikel. Into Alpala. Here's Manu Garcia. Now Kolarov, plenty forward for City. Bit of a clash, isn't there, between the goalkeeper's kit and City's strip as well?
Yeah, it certainly is. Wasn't a good ball by Kolarov in the end. Such a good left foot when he breaks forward. He was just trying to pass that in behind the back four of Chelsea.
Hazard. Willian. Alex Garcia in the challenge. So they found Azpilicueta. Pedro. Fabregas. This time it was Pedro to Fabregas to the shot, and Caballero clutched it gratefully.
He found a lot of space here, Fabregas. He's one of the holding midfield players, but found that bit of space in behind Diego Costa. Just the movement of Diego Costa. Di Michelis couldn't close the ball down. Bioyo eventually went to try and do it.
There's Garcia. More comfortable with his right foot, Willy Caballero. Challenged by Zabaleta. By Babarama, he's fouled in the end.
It's a wonderful cross over the ball, isn't he? Babarama, we saw that against PSG, that cross he delivered for Diego Costa, where he should have scored in the first half. That's where he loves to be, high and wide up on this left-hand side.
The thing with Chelsea getting back here today is that they were okay about even a defeat, that there's a real chance of making up the ground and more in the second leg. Been very tight. It's the third year in a row that Chelsea played Paris Saint-Germain, and the third time in 4 seasons they played Manchester City in the FA Cup. Here's Hazard. Willian. Using Azpilicueta as a decoy. It's too long for Pedro, well read by Caballero, coming out at pace.
Now the front players aren't the ones that need to make the forward runs. It needs a midfield player running from slightly deeper. Man City have done it all season. Watch how they squeeze up here. They start to squeeze. Oh, it's a tight one. Bioyo, I thought, was level with Pedro. That's a big gamble. Playing such a high line when the players are running across the field with the ball. He needs a good run from a midfield player, and they'll be in for Chelsea.
High foot from Fernando. Nothing sinister or malicious, but free kick to Chelsea, which will keep it close order. Fabregas. Mikel. Azar. Between two, it comes to Babarama's got a chance to show this crossing ability now. Ooh, that was not so much the direction, but the fact it came on the bounce to Caballero that caused the problem.
Does he try and catch this, or does he just try and shovel it away in the end? There it is, it just bounces in front of him. Well, I think he just tries to shovel it away. Strange technique used by Caballero.
Clubs have only met once in the league this season. That was very early on in Manchester. City won at Atlanta 3-0. Not too much for Joe Hart to do in that game. But it was maybe the first sign, Stuart, that all was not going to be well for Jose Mourinho in the defence of the title.
Well, I think it was also the time where he took off John Terry, wasn't it, at half-time? Questions were being asked about that. He definitely wasn't injured.
City is scheduled to come here in the middle of April for a return game in the league, and I would venture to suggest that there won't be too many of this team starting. Mind you, if they win here, it might be a different view. It's 0-0. They've one or two awkward moments. Pedro's hit the post. Here he is again. Azar. Pedro. Diego Costa. Zabaleta, who just got it over Abaraman and out of immediate harm's way. And good pressing by Manu Garcia.
The young players have done well defensively.
Willian. Nicely worked to Azar. Goes beyond Zabaleta and lines up across here. No one far post. And Kolarov shows that he is one of the more experienced members of the side. Very coolly done.
Really, Chelsea didn't have enough players in the box. Diego Costa had made the run to the near post. Isn't too much else on for Hazard. He's got that left foot crossing.
Two Garcias with her into play. Ball out by Courtois. Chelsea trying to build from the back. More than a ripple of applause for that, the home goalkeeper. Willian. That's Belaqueta. Pedro darted into that little pocket of space. Fabregas. Azar. Fabregas, Diego Costa, a bit slow ball sometimes from Chelsea, and City able to reposition. Fabregas still holding the conductor's baton. It's a fairly meaty cross from Pedro, kept in by Azar. Out for Abaraman. He sees the movement here. Pedro, who won't have seen the flag, but it's up.
There you see it again, Man City. As soon as Chelsea start to pass backwards or square, they squeeze up. It's been their Achilles heel at times this season. When they do it right, it's okay, but Pedro again, I think it's a very tight decision.
It's onside, isn't it?
Level. He is. He was level the previous time.
I think we've learnt from many years of experience the angles, even of our cameras, sometimes distort the actuality of it all, but what we were able to see on our screens and your screens then, the kind of one the attacker should get the benefit from.
As he should have done a little while ago as well. But it's a risky ploy to hold that line. If Chelsea have got time on the ball and players make little runs. Dioyo is the player that was in line, but it's not his fault. Other players are squeezing up far too quickly. Don't need to squeeze up in those areas, just defend it properly.
That's up. And they've got a foot in. Zabaleta in the challenge. Nice change of direction by Manu Garcia. Alex Garcia. Michelis.
Well, I won't be speaking, but Alex Conley, Head of Communications, Department of Housing,
Moved on.
Local Government and Heritage. You should see my business card right now.
Great with the identification here. I'm sure you're learning about these players with every pass, every touch of the ball, and they certainly haven't let their club down so far. Manchester City. Fernando. Nicely worked to Zabaleta. It wasn't the worst ball forward. Pala maybe didn't quite see it coming, maybe he couldn't have got there. Zabaleta looking a bit quizzical in that direction.
Well, when the ball came out to Zabaleta, we were right behind him here. That was the ball to play. Pala didn't see it early enough. Cahill was not somebody who tries to squeeze up, he was running back. Pala was in between the two centre-backs. It was the perfect delivery by Zabaleta.
Willian. It was a very noble attempt by Pedro, who hasn't given up yet. He was claiming he was fouled. Kolarov was saying Pedro handled it. Mariner said, get on with it.
He does well just to keep the ball in play here, gets up quickly. Kolarov just tries to shield the ball and he actually runs beyond it, but it is handball from Pedro as well. And that's the poor side of Kolarov. We know he can get forward, deliver great crosses. Excellent footballer, but I'm not always convinced by his defensive qualities.
It's the inside of Kolarov, and that's spent danger to Manchester City.
Okay, ready?
Papala. Iheanacho hits it. Plenty of optimism. The score in that defeat by Tottenham came on as a substitute in the last Premier League game for City.
Papala doing well again. He runs down one side of Ivanovic, then cuts back across him. Iheanacho just has to hold his run here. Nothing else on his mind but get his shot away. Strikes it nicely, but always rising.
Incidentally, the draw for the quarter-finals takes place shortly after the end of this tie. There's another fifth-round match tomorrow between Shrewsbury and Manchester United. Mikel.
Okay, folks, I'm going to have two speakers for you now today. First of all, we'll have Old Sherlock, who's head of forecasting with Met Aaron, and following Old, we'll have Keith Leonard, who's the Director General of the National Director of Fire and Emergency Management. So, Old, up to you.
And again,
I'll put the curse on Abderrahman. That's 3 crosses he's now played into Zabaleta, the first defender.
So I suppose we're here today because we've named the storm. It's the 4th storm of the storm naming season. It's Storm Debbie. And we can expect Debbie to make impacts later tonight, primarily kicking off in the southwest of the country. And we expect the track of Storm Debbie to go basically southwest to northeast. At this point in time, we've issued 2 separate red wind warnings. The first is for western coastal counties of Clare and Galway, and we're also creeping a little bit into Roscommon. So we expect those wind warnings to kick in from 3 AM to 5 AM. Storm Debbie tracks further to the north to northeast. We've included Offaly and Westmeath into the wind warning. So we've a red wind warning for Offaly and Westmeath from 5 AM to 7 AM.
Hazard, 1-0.
So I think there's about 19
a straightforward header by the man in the mask, Diego Costa.
And that's going to kick in later this evening.
Patient play, and a little too crafty
tomorrow morning
for Manchester City.
Some severe winds,
Chelsea lead.
mean winds, and also gusts.
Well, it's a well-worked goal by Chelsea. Diego Costa doing what he didn't do against PSG, heading it back across the goalkeeper. Certainly wasn't easy a header for him this time.
So we can expect
the ball in.
The red.
Hazard makes the run beyond the ball. Zabaleta lets him run. Centre half doesn't see it quite early enough, but it's a great delivery back into the box. All that Hazard does is just help it back into the danger area. Not really pick out Diego Costa.
Pushes through the country.
Diego Costa gets a good position between Dimichelis and Kolarov.
When they're getting ready to go to work, etc.
Neither see the run, neither see Diego Costa, and a good header back past the goalkeeper.
Throughout the night, and we obviously take.
Well, he's now scored 9 in a 12-game run, including today. And Husserdink must take a lot of credit for that. He was smouldering and brooding under Jose Mourinho, and then he got caught up in battles that
good evening, everyone.
Need to fight. His aggressive style is a key part of his game.
And the principal response agencies have been
concentrating on getting into the right areas
in
recent times.
This is, as you would have heard from Owen, a serious winter storm with some dangerous features. And on that basis, we can see
Nacho City might be in for an equaliser here, and they've got it.
All government agencies,
Valpala forced it in for a debut goal.
In attendance at that meeting, it was very productive.
And City's kids hit back straight away.
We have a couple of public safety pieces.
Well, I was just about to say, Nacho, surely he's got to hit through the back of the ball.
One of the key
shoot himself.
We have is in terms
he decided to square it. Valpala wasn't going to get there first, but
coastal conditions
as Azpilicueta, could he have done better at the far post? There's good combination play. Ball round the corner, two front players linking up well there. Either he's going to shoot the goal himself. Azpilicueta coming across. I'm not sure there's too much he can do. He's trying to kick through the ball. Valpala just blocks it.
So that's currently
blocks it into the net.
And people are advised to keep track of the Met weather forecast.
Courtois just gets a slight touch on it. I think Azpilicueta, when you see from that angle, may have been able to do better.
In relation to transport tomorrow, people can expect lengthy delays across the transport network.
That's a great
people
response.
should plan their journeys and check
the sort of expected scenario, given the team selection. Chelsea working at it, getting a goal up, going on to get into the quarter-finals. That
updated on any disruption.
Gone through a lot of people's mind. Here they go. They're on their way. They're going to win this in straightforward fashion against.
Employers are asked to have some
players, but one of those novices has knocked in the equaliser.
And if you are going to play with two up front, I think Pellegrini's been brave with playing two up front. They have to combine, they have to understand each other's runs, and they certainly have there. Valpala played the first ball for Iheanacho. Iheanacho then throws it to the outside of his boot back into what he thought was going to be Valpala's path. And he gets the blocking with great determination. Good play from Manchester City.
In the first half of tomorrow. So again, we're asking motorists to slow down and take care, be aware of vulnerable road users, particularly cyclists and pedestrians, and for drivers of high-sided vehicles to take account of the local conditions as they're on their journeys. Very important message in relation to keeping your mobile phone charged. There's going to be extensive electricity outages tomorrow across the country, and your mobile phone is your link to the emergency services. And people should be aware that even when your mobile phone shows no coverage from your own network, you can still make a 999 call. So that's an important piece.
City incidentally do have
it is critical that people never touch or approach fallen wires.
17 visits.
Stay safe and stay clear of fallen power lines. And in the event that you come across fallen power line, please contact the ESB networks on 1-800.
Pedro once more just trying to sneak into 372 so many goals for Barcelona down the years.
I think the assistant referee's got two wrong. Does he get this one right? Yes, he gets that one right.
To check for.
And again, it's a tight decision.
Thank you, Alex.
I think it's a real gamble that Man City are taking by squeezing up so late.
There was a coin handed to Andre Marinori. He went to find a coin. There is this after an incident yesterday, more than one.
Okay, so the 19 counties affected are the 19 counties under the current warnings. And I just want to be very clear, red and orange, very clear, schools are not closing tomorrow. We're just delaying the opening until 10 o'clock in the morning. Again, just to give a chance for road networks to be cleared and for debris to be removed, and also
great
for
quality
school
on the ball, does he, the big centre half?
To get into school early and check the conditions in the school itself. And the Department of Education is contacting all schools tonight.
Couple of minutes.
And the Department
they might be able to do it with Fabregas. Oh, it's a great save by Caballero from Pedro, who's a thorn in City's side, but hasn't been able to get the reward from it.
Absolutely, and it's always up to schools, school management to keep
advising,
to keep account of local conditions, because
conditions
may change very quickly. So ultimately, the decision to close schools or open schools will be made by the management board and the school management. But this is just an extra piece of advice to allow for safe
reversing it back into Fabregas, looking for Pedro again. Good save from that man, but it's the right height for him.
It's probably about the only place he could have saved it, really. Need to put it across.
I let my colleague Owen Sherlock answer that, but I will come back in just briefly and say the warnings are general guides to people as to what the local conditions will be.
City can break here. Ian Ashes has got a hold to stay on side.
Precise across county boundaries, but I'll let Owen give him more detail to it.
Thanks, Keith. So basically, what we've done is we've looked at all the forecasts we have available to us, and we've kind of got a good handle on the track of the storm.
And you should have passed me the ball, but you're absolutely right. It was offside by 2 or 3 yards.
Channel Estuary and push up to the north.
Alice Garcia.
So Roscommon, as you can see, is quite a long county. So that's kind of what we expect the southern parts of Roscommon to be most affected by the track of the storm. So we're trying to give a little bit more information to the people who'll be under an awful lot of stress, the local authorities.
Of course, we're looking at City 4th against Chelsea 12th in the Premier League. But City very much cast in the role of underdogs here because of their team selection. So I think we're entitled to say, Stuart, the FA Cup throwing up a bit of a surprise with that equaliser from Faupala.
Well, I think the Chelsea fans, the Chelsea players,
that's something we're considering internally in
goal,
but at the moment we work under the major emergency management framework, and it's the local authorities.
Manchester City youngsters are very good players. I've seen them.
We're trying to give them a little bit more information so they can put the right people in the right place at the right time to see them.
Here come Chelsea again. Pedro. Well, he's made the chance for himself with some nifty shifting of the ball. And he can't get the goal that he's threatened to get. Been elusive so far.
Yeah, so for this particular event, it's going to be the gusts. And the gusts are the things that will knock the tree down. Gusts will take the roof off.
Back to somewhere near.
So it's really, and also remember, parts of the
Barcelona
Midlands wouldn't necessarily get this type of weather. We saw this in the ploughing championship a couple of years back.
Willian,
so it's really, it's in our meteorological guidance. We're also looking at what the effects that we have from our 80-odd years experience of forecasting the weather. And that's the rationale.
Doing his defensive work at the near post.
Habar Ahmed.
And operating and reporting accordingly as opposed to
Aspilicueta.
So that's kind of, I think you're looking at impact based. So that's what we, if you look at our warnings now, you'll see underneath it all the different impacts. So we're telling the people
come to Willian. They've got men over here, Chelsea. Willian's taking it back into some traffic.
And to tell you how many kilometre-hour winds. But we're trying to give people more information.
Had a chance just to take it away then, but was a little slow to react. Closing down. Mikel, who gets the better of him. Now Willian. Big couple of minutes here.
So yesterday we issued a
Chelsea are looking stronger again. Has that gone out?
Tomorrow.
No.
So what we have is this very chaotic system. So we have a jet stream
the outside of that right boot. He's having a good game, Pedro.
We have a jet stream.
Diving in.
There's a core of stronger winds that's shooting off.
Raising their game, having conceded the surprise equaliser.
Predict that. So we use ensembles, which is a kind of
Willian.
We use potentially 20 different
have enough bend on it.
And that's what we've used here. So it's
striking from that kind of distance.
So the closer you get to the
free kicks in particular, but also in open play too.
That's kind of the rationale behind it.
We did give people heads of this, and they can't get there.
And that kind of gives us some time to get our forecasts out and contact.
He was a counter-attacking threat against PSG. That sort of game he's going to have to play here. As Man City are dropping deep in general play, and then they just try and squeeze up when they get to the penalty box.
No, I think it's the impacts. It's just how we forecast winds. It's going to be. There's probably rain is different because it can fall on one side of the street, and if the culvert is clear, there's no issue if it falls on the other side. So there's local effects like that. So wind is kind of different in how we can forecast it. That's just the reality that it is. Now, just to quickly comment, there will be some heavy rain as well. The rivers are high, and particularly in parts of the north along the Shannon. The ground is still saturated, so we've also put with a yellow wind and rain warning now, so there will be impacts on flooding as well. And as you've heard already, there will be impacts along the coast. So
he's certainly contributed to the first half of first-team football.
Sorry, did you have a question? Sorry, did you have a question? No? Sorry, I'll take the
minutes. Mike Jones, the fourth official, holding the board aloft.
So
Fernando.
basically, it's going to, as it traverses the country tomorrow, it's probably the east coast obviously will be the last part of the country that's
wide
going to be
men so
affected
far.
So we do have an orange warning now
Garcia
until 10 a.m. tomorrow
around
morning.
on that far
so that'll
side.
impact people, I suppose, commuting to work.
Fabregas.
We've heard already what's going to happen to schools.
Costa to
So it will be an orange
Azpilicueta.
warning. That is serious. That's potential for risk to property and life. So we will advise people to take care.
Offside there with Costa just coming back into that position, but flag stayed down.
Dimichelis is telling the assistant referee that
so it'll be later in the morning. So the orange warning
couple of
finishes
yards.
at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we expect the winds to be 7, 8, 9, etc. Potentially.
Okay, sorry.
In goes Ivanovic. It's Kolarov who got there. And again. Azpilicueta.
So I suppose what we do is we get data every couple of hours
upfield.
and we refine our forecasts and our warnings.
Caballero recognising the chance to counter-attack
hopefully,
here.
famous last words, we're hopefully that this will be the extent, but we can't rule it out. Because I did mention
striding back,
this
he's
is
still not
quite
properly
a
in position
fast-evolving
yet.
system and there is the potential.
He
We're
needs
kind of
to be
hopefully
now.
confident enough now that we've reached what we need.
Trying to tee it up on the edge of the area.
Typical winter fare, unsettled, spells
Willian.
of rain at time, windy conditions. Hopefully this will be
disappointing end from Selena. He might have pulled the trigger with his right foot there.
Here comes Pedro, not wanting this half
folks.
to
That's great.
end without his name on the score sheet. Hazard.
Sorry, Keith. Oh, can we just get a quick picture of you?
Bio has done really well. Those kind of bread and butter situations, and he's learning on the job, isn't he, Stuart?
He's having to. I'm sure that Man City's youth side squeeze up quite so much when the ball's played back or from crosses. No time to take the set play, much to his frustration.
Well, it's been the first half of the strong, experienced Chelsea side, with Diego Costa giving them what probably most of you expected to be a lead. They didn't hold it for very long because David Faupala on his debut equalised for this much changed Manchester City side. It's 1-1 at half-time. Welcome back to Stamford Bridge, where the unexpected is unfolding a little bit, in the sense that Manchester City, with a team mixing some defensive regulars and some teenagers like David Faupala, are holding pretty much full strength Chelsea side. Just the John Terry and Zuma, the two regular centre-backs for the last couple of months, both missing. And for Stuart, some quite neat approach play from the Blues. Stamford Bridge hasn't quite seen what the majority want to see, which is an emphatic performance against a much more inexperienced 11.
I think if Man City try and hold the edge of their penalty box, don't go any deeper, the square 1-2s, I think Chelsea will get in. By that means they might just poke little balls in behind. Chelsea have now seen how Man City are going to defend. If they're good enough, they can break them down. But we've also seen a lot from Man City going forward, particularly the front two have linked up well with each other. Faupala has been excellent.
So Chelsea at 1-1, as they were in Paris on Tuesday at half-time. Equalised right on half-time, a rare goal from Mikel, only his 6th in over 350 games for the club.
He had to rectify his mistake, didn't he? In Paris, gave the free kick away, then turned his back on the free kick and the shot deflected off him. But a good response from the midfield player. Fabregas has picked out his passes well in this game.
Done by Iheanacho. Back by Cahill, who obviously wouldn't wish his teammates any harm, but it suited his personal needs. He was sort of confined to sporadic appearances and being on the bench for the majority of the games. And this, as we move into 2016 and the European Championships, he's a regular member of England's team, let alone England's squad. It was not a good omen for him for what lies ahead, but now he's back in the groove. I'm sure the England manager Roy Hodgson is plotting what he is doing. And a step forward in the FA Cup would also help as well, but they've got to work hard to get that. City do have the options of bringing players like Raheem Sterling and Vinny Kompany on. Interesting to see whether they're here just to make up the numbers or whether they're here to help City turn. It's been a surprisingly good first half performance, given their choice of players, into a winning performance. Here's Willian. Hazard. Costa coming in from the left-hand side, but it's played in to Willian, who tucks it away. And he contributes again, Chelsea's player of the season so far. In the 3rd minute of the second half, Chelsea restored their lead. Stuart Robson.
Well, Willian has been a great counter-attacking threat throughout the season. It's about the first time in the game there has been space for him to run with the ball. But we've been talking about Manchester City holding the line at the edge of their box, and they do it again here, and it's far too easy for Willian to pick his run and Hazard to pick his pass. There's nothing too problematic about this situation at the moment, and then they hold the line. Di Michelis doesn't go with the runner. Willian times his run perfectly. He's level with Di Michelis, and a good finish into that far post. It's an easy pass for Hazard as well.
And an assured, accomplished finish from the Brazilian, who's really become the pin-up boy this season. He was assisting Hazard last season. It's been the other way around this time. And he's possibly going to steal the show again for Chelsea.
And it's not just this back four that have got it wrong for Man City. All season this has been their Achilles heel. Not sure why they try and play it. Don't go back into their box, they don't go with runners. Time after time this season, those sort of goals have been happening against Man City.
And in the Premier League alone, they've had 5 different central defensive combinations. And of course part of that is down to Company, who was on the losing side in a Premier League game that he started for the first time against Spurs in the last game. And City have had those 2 defeats, trailing again, this time in the FA Cup. Baba Rahman. Costa. Diego Costa again. Now Pedro for Diego Costa. Oh, and it was a iffy challenge from Alex Garcia.
Well, I don't think there was any contact, and I think Pedro knew that. He was stumbling over. I don't think he was trying to win a penalty. I think he anticipated the tackle.
And this is the combination that got City back into it, but Pala's been penalised this time, having gone on to Iheanacho's pass.
There you see the difference. Cahill goes with the runner. Here it is again. Pedro tries to nip in between, and there's certainly no contact whatsoever. I think he was anticipating the challenge. Here comes another youngster, Barker.
Another 19-year-old. Another debut. Has played senior football. He's been on loan at Rotherham in the second tier of the English game. He often plays wide on the left-hand side. We'll see where Pellegrini is going to place him. Hazard. Mr. claiming he was blocked off the ball. Chelsea can still go here from Baba Rahman's cross. Pedro. That's a good piece of defending from Martin Di Michelis.
That time Di Michelis does go with the run. He's late in seeing it, but eventually he gets there, and a good job he did.
Willian with the corner. Willian first to it again, and Fabregas is onside. It's a great angle for the cross. It's really hung up towards Zabaleta, can just get a glancing touch. That's hammered in by Gary Cahill, and surely Chelsea are now in the quarter-finals. They've started the second half strongly, and it just fell kindly to a centre-back who has an eye for goal, and he's shown it again here.
Well, he hasn't got bad technique either. Goes through the goalkeeper, Caballero. Whatever was said at half-time, Chelsea have come out, played at another level, and a higher tempo. To start with, it's not particularly good play from Hazard. It doesn't pick anybody out, just crosses it aimlessly into the box. Clearance isn't good from Fernando. Maybe the goalkeeper should do better. Doesn't get his bottom hand down in time, but a good finish from Cahill. He certainly is a good technician for a centre-half. It's right through the back of the ball. Just too much pace for the goalkeeper.
Now they're heading for the last 8. And maybe Huss heading for a repeat performance in the FA Cup from his first spell. And it will be from the annals of FA Cup history, I think, or recorded in the annals of FA Cup history, if they do come back from this Manchester City. Barker is on, incidentally, for Selena. He was getting ready at 2-1, he came on at 3-1. Fernando.
Absolutely right, he's an outside left who loves to run with the ball. He's got plenty of pace.
And he does well here to take Azpilicueta for the run. and get a corner from it.
Well, when Patrick Vieira was manager of the under-18s, Selena, who's just gone off, didn't really involve himself in the game. But that man Barker, he used to just play as an outside left, didn't come in field. Just stayed in that outside left position. They kept switching the play to him, and he's got pace and trickery to cause problems.
Well, he's got problems now. Here's Manu Garcia, though, for Iheanacho. And Farpala with half a chance of getting another goal. But here's Barker. Kolarov supporting on the outside. Away with some difficulty by Mikel. Barker again. Fernando. Manu Garcia. Here's Barker. A chance to go at Chelsea and involve Kolarov. Comes storming in. It's a terrific collision with Gary Cahill's challenge. No quarter asked or given by two experienced players.
And a couple of really good passes by Barker. Twice Kolarov has got in behind. Cahill pleased with his challenge as he came across.
Well, I would estimate that we're seeing the last FA Cup tie involving Manuel Pellegrini as manager of Manchester City. 10 minutes gone in the second half. It's time for redress, but even the introduction of another young player as a substitute suggests that Chelsea and their owner are going to be able to control proceedings from here on in. But they were 2-0 up against Bradford City, and suddenly the roof fell in.
He's hitting. Steadied the ship last time he came in at Chelsea and won the FA Cup. Can he repeat it this season?
He got to the semi-final of the Champions League as well, which he has never forgotten, because they were within a minute of beating Barcelona. Iniesta got a contentious equaliser on a night when Chelsea felt they were denied a couple of penalties. It's a painful memory for who's hitting. And they've got a chance of getting into the quarter-finals in that competition as well if they can turn that 2-1 deficit from Tuesday around here.
What a difference a few months make. He was in charge of the Dutch national team for the first part of the qualifiers. The tournament they failed to get through.
All the way here, or trying to, was Pedro, Azpilicueta, Willian. Pedro, Dimichelis were asking for offside. They weren't going to get it. It was another chance for Chelsea.
I just don't understand their policy. Not the players, it's the philosophy that the coach uses, the manager uses. Don't go back into your box. Pedro's been excellent with his movement. Just needs to get on the score sheet, really.
In by Willian. Cahill and Ivanovic, the main two aerial threats. It's getting in each other's way.
Well, he started off in the wars, didn't he? A whack to the thigh. Bloodied nose. Well, he scored a very good goal. Just made an excellent block against Kolarov up the other end.
And bread and butter defensive header for Gary Cahill. Diego Costa able to turn. Couldn't quite slip Hazard in. It's still amazing that Eden Hazard, I know he's had some spells out of favour and out of the side with an injury or two, but just the one goal of penalty in the last round of the FA Cup against MK Dons, his only goal since he actually failed and scored from the rebound with a penalty to win the league here against Crystal Palace in May last year.
Yeah, no question about it, it's a foul from Fabregas. Garcia.
This is a back heel by Azpilicueta. Maybe time for a flick and a trick or two for Chelsea. Barker trying to get into his stride.
We were just about to see the pace of Barker there. If he'd taken a better touch in behind Cahill. Cahill may have been embarrassed by the youngster. The question mark against Barker, has he got an end product?
Diego Costa. Cahill. Well, it's been a great first quarter now of the second half for Chelsea. They lost their initial lead to Farpala's equaliser. It was from Willian and Cahill. Pushed them to a position of real promise here to claim a place in the last 8, the draw of which comes up after this game is finished. Willian. Fabregas. Mikel. Everything at top tempo, Pedro. And there's a clever pass for Fabregas's run, though. That friendship I talked about in the first half is very evident on the field, Stuart, isn't it, as well? It's almost the first ball he looks for to see where Cesc is.
It certainly has been today, hasn't it? Those two have really combined well. Been a couple of lovely 1-2s, good movement from both players. The player on the ball's had the awareness to find them.
Azpilicueta. Mikel, who had his career taken a different turn, might have been based in Manchester. He put pen to paper with Manchester United. But, the deal was questioned from his side, and in the end Chelsea actually had to buy him from Old Trafford. They never played for United. Fabregas, Willian. Rabiot. Thinking, what am I learning from this about the way to step up and not, because he's very much the junior member of otherwise a very senior back four. Now comes Iheanacho. Barker trying to run in behind. Iheanacho had the eye on the reverse pass towards Farpala. Here's Kolarov. Still be interesting if City were to get the next goal. Ruffle Chelsea's feathers again.
I still think there's enough quality in this Manchester City side, should they get another goal, to press and create a couple of chances. There's another example of the centre-back, the young centre-back, not particularly good on the ball.
Diego Costa. Hazard. Now Fabregas, a touch and hit, 2 touches and hit. And he was reaching for it. The second touch wasn't quite the setup for the shot that he probably could have created.
There's another example. It's not a bad pass from Eden Hazard at the end of it, a good pass. When the ball first went to him on the counter, he slowed it down, he allowed Zabaleta to create a 2v1 against him. Last season, 1v1 against the centre-back, he'd have gone at him and got his shot away.
The only time Chelsea have beaten Manchester City in the FA Cup was 101 years ago yesterday. Chelsea went on to the final back in 1915. Didn't win it until 1970. Iheanacho. Chance for handball from the City fans and from the player concerned.
Those that are old enough to remember that cup final against Leeds when it was one of the dirtiest cup finals. Went to a replay at Old Trafford.
Leeds really were the power in the land then, and Chelsea were the underdogs, but having got the worst end of a 2-2 draw, they made the most of the replay. And a 2-1 win. David Webb later managed Chelsea. You won't remember that, Raheem Sterling. Long time before he was born. The rumour mill has it, and you can't find anyone here at Chelsea to substantiate it, that he was a trialist as Chelsea as a very young boy. Here's a Hazard being a trial to Manchester City here. Dimichelis having to come out to mow him down and accept the yellow card, which was inevitable.
Hazard going past Dimichelis. It's a good run from Diego Costa. Could have played him in, but this time he uses the run to go the other way. Dimichelis going with his wrong leg. Ball was past him. Free kick in a very good position. You mentioned Willian, but it looks as though Hazard may be taking this one.
To get his first goal at Stamford Bridge this season, maybe. It's a great position Chelsea are in. 25 minutes to go, 3-1 up. An inexperienced team beginning to creak, and the older players beginning to look like, what have we been let into here? So it is the still young Belgian trying to brighten up his own personal campaign, and he's done it. That will mean a lot, not just to the scorer but to his teammates as well. Just hitting with that white coat on now. I've been asked by the referee to put that on because he looked like the fourth official. Well, that looked like the real Eden Hazard.
Certainly did. It's a clever free kick as well. Caballero doesn't cover himself in glory again. He starts to go behind the wall before the ball's played. Moving across, Hazard just passes it. There's 3 Chelsea players in that wall. They can just move out the way. Caballero can't see it, but he can't start wandering across the goal before the ball's played. There's no way he's going to get back. There you see it. Great free kick.
But the goalkeeper's side of the goal.
It's poor goalkeeping, and I don't think he's put in a good performance at all, Caballero. And that will do Eden Hazard the world of good.
So the FA Cup has been fruitful for him. One in the 5-1 win against the MK Dons. They're on the way to another 5 here, perhaps not just 5 at MK Dons, but 5 here against Newcastle in the last Premier League game on this ground. Caught guessing, I would say, the goalkeeper. Confirmation of that yellow card in the conceding of the free kick by Martin Dimichelis. This could get pretty embarrassing for Manchester City and for Manuel Pellegrini. It's all well and good saying we've got other priorities, but worse fixture congestions than the one facing City have been dealt with by a group of senior players.
There's a big call from him.
Well, he's got to win. He's got to do well in Kiev, and he's got to win the Capital One Cup to justify this, you would feel. There's every chance, of course, of being able to do that. So, unless City can make a bit of inroads into the damage caused, and so Zabaleta makes some inroads here, and they might get one back. Iheanacho with a back heel. He's done that trick before. And there was plenty of power on the technique, but he couldn't force it across the line.
First time we've really seen Zabaleta get forward. He's been able to get forward that often. Does really well. Doesn't get his first touch right. He certainly does get enough power in it. And once again, Cahill in the right place. There's a lot of space in at that far post. Cahill gets the block in. Probably Courtois would have made the save in behind him.
And probably Iheanacho could have set up Manu Garcia with a more conventional chance. Diego Costa probably a bit annoyed inside because there might be some more goals for the taking in these circumstances. but he's got his one. It was the opener of the afternoon.
Similar chance to the one he had against PSG, where the goalkeeper made a save, where he headed it straight at him. That was a good header. He knew that Caballero was going to run across the field. And there's a player that I thought was outstanding today, Pedro. What a good performance he put in, particularly in the first half.
And it allows Oscar to get some action, and Bertrand Traoré as well. Traoré scored at MK Dons, and Oscar got a hat-trick there in the first half. He's only got 20 minutes of the second half this time. But it will increase the appetite, I'm sure, from the players who've just been brought on to not just let Manchester City see this out. And 4-1 is bad enough, isn't it? They'll be wanting to get a piece of the action as well. The two new arrivals. Traoré comes from Burkina Faso. An interesting transfer with work permits awaiting, and how long before he could be allowed to play in this country. And that's been sorted out now. Here's Alex Kolarov. Hazard. Out by Fernando. Barker. Pala. Oh, there's a chance to get Barker in then.
Wrong angle and the wrong weight on the pass. Barker made a good run.
And here come Chelsea again. Oscar. Willian to the left. Oscar wants a bit of personal glory, and he wasn't far away from getting it. He's sitting, chomping at the bit really to get on and be a part of it.
Well, he had a look at all the options. He looked right, he looked left. Came back inside Garcia. Trying to wrap his foot round it and bend it into that far corner. Doesn't come round in time.
Goes Ivanovic, flipped on by Hazard.
Oscar is going to play in his favoured position, just in behind the main striker Traoré. Oh, another knock for Cahill.
A bit of gain, but even more pain.
As you said, it's great for England that he's getting some more time out on the pitch. Gets a whack in the face from Iheanacho, or on the side of the head. Not sure there was too much intent from the big centre forward. He's jumping for the ball there, and as he's swinging round, just catches Cahill.
Yeah, there are those who could do that with a bit of intent, but I don't think a young forward like Kelechi Iheanacho is in that category, and I hope he never becomes that.
I think he'd lost his balance. He started to jump forwards, and as he started to swing round, just had to try and keep his balance and lift his arm up.
It's something that can come born of frustration from forwards who feel that in the wrong team, really. I'm sure he's envious at the chances being created at the other end. He's got a bright future. He's already scored 9 times this season.
And some important goals as well for Manchester City.
Here's Fabregas. Oscar. Fabregas. Mikel. The keep ball from Chelsea, but trying to do it in the City's half of the pitch. Michaelis reading it. Barker has only presented it to Hazard, who the mind of the young winger. Willian. And Michaelis has been penalised. It's a penalty, and he could get a second yellow here. Andre Mariner has pointed to the spot. More pain for Manchester City.
I think he has to see the run earlier, and then he gets the other side of Traoré. He's always the wrong side. Gives him a nudge in the back. Traore goes down. Referee Andre Marat saying that it's the official on that far side that told him that it was a free kick or a penalty. And a chance for Oscar, the substitute, to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, Oscar ahead of Hazard. Well, eager to get some of the spoils here, the Chelsea substitutes. And here goes Oscar, and Caballero keeps it out. Went the right way. It's pretty academic to the result, but a wasted opportunity for Chelsea.
Sometimes the delay allows the goalkeeper just to get that little bit further with his dive, but it's not a good penalty from Oscar.
And it's not his first penalty failure of the season either. It stays at 4-1.
Quite often the delay, somebody that's taking the kick, is to see where the goalkeeper's going to go, but it didn't seem to change his mind. Oscar saw where Caballero was going to dive and continued to play it into that corner.
Well, that's Hazard trying again. And it's not going to be as costly for Oscar as it was for Charlie Daniels with Bournemouth yesterday. Could have put them 1 up, and they lost 2-0 at home to Everton. And Chelsea could be in again.
How many times do you see that square 1-2? Or how many times have we seen it today? Here it comes again. Traore plays him in. He didn't play him in. Fabregas played it square, made the run.
Here's Kolarov. Away only as far as Manu Garcia by Ivanovic. Garcia has the shot. Oscar, Chelsea prepared to take 1 or 2 risks at the back. Barker, Anish Garcia. Marker again. Fernando, and it's offside. Not always easy to call those right in front of the assistant. Fampala.
He got his shot away a little bit earlier here. As it came out, hit it first time. And then he took his touch past the challenge and got his shot away.
And it's Fernando who comes off, and the average age of the side drops even further as Cameron Humphreys comes on for his second first-team appearance. He was used as a substitute in very different circumstances at Aston Villa when they were 4-0 up. The penalty would have become on when they're 4 goals adrift. Cahill. There are going to be questions asked, aren't there, Stuart, of Manuel Pellegrini, particularly if in this last, it'll be 15 minutes or so with added time, won't it? Chelsea strike again.
Well, everybody will be asking about his team selection, quite rightly so, but all season I've been asking about his policy of defending that penalty box. I've seen it time and time again. He must see that it's not been working for them. Too many times they've been cut open by the opposition, even though they've got much better players in general than the opponents that they're playing against, and it keeps costing them goals. He has to revisit his philosophy and change it defensively.
Otamendi is one we haven't mentioned, who was fit for selection today. Mangala has been missing through injury. And now there's another stoppage for an injury. I'm not sure it will be too much of a problem for Manu Garcia. It's the bony elbow from Mikel.
Yeah, I think he's just protecting himself, Mikel, as you have to do when you're jumping for the balls. That's why you lift your arm so that you don't get a whack on the head. He said it was an elbow. Yeah, his elbow did catch it. Looks as though Dimichelis has gone into midfield. And Humphries has gone into the centre-back position.
Here's Cahill. It's nice footwork by Manu Garcia, who's keeping going. Managers do learn a lot about their players in adversity. And, he's not a happy boss here. Not happy with the timing of the fixture. Was put back to the Sunday in a way with the selection. He's made his discontent very plain. But in months to come, maybe we'll be looking back and saying, well, hang on, he was one of those lads who played at Chelsea. We've got some first team experience. Van Pala would come into that category. Manu Garcia is still going. Anish Garcia there as well.
People you have to think about are the supporters that travel all the way down from Manchester to watch the game, support the team.
Hazard. Well, I suppose some of them will be going to Kiev, maybe not too many of them. Some will be in their much bigger numbers, will be going to Wembley. And if they come out on the right end of those two results, this will be quickly forgotten. But here is Hazard. They're in again, Chelsea here. Traore against the post. Oscar trying to knock it in. A bit of fortune on Manchester City's side in a couple of these Chelsea attacks with the penalty, and now that could be a much more embarrassing scoreline. It's bad enough from their point of view at the moment. Here's Traore. Oscar. Zabaleta can't get it away. Fabregas right against the byline. And he wins the corner off. Humphries.
It's been the ideal game for Cesc Fabregas. He's been able to demonstrate his brilliant passing ability. There's another reverse pass into the run of Hazard.
Nemanja Matic, who didn't play in Paris because he was suspended in the totting up procedure of the yellow cards in the Champions League. Mikel has been a player that Chris Hiddink has turned to again. He's one of those who was here and helped to win the FA Cup back in 2009 and did very well under the current interim manager in his first spell in charge. He's been preferred to Matic again today. They've made the change now. Here's Willian. Williams cross, Ivanovic is in there. And that's the sort of thing that he's done to plenty of opponents in the past, so you can hardly complain about that.
Here's that chance again. Watch the pass here from Fabregas, round the corner. Again, they're trying to hold a line on the edge of the penalty box. They're broken far too easily. Hazard just overhits it to Traore. He has to adjust his feet and stretch for it. Chelsea have played some wonderful football in this second half. And City get lucky.
Here's Oscar. They might not get lucky this time. Hazard couldn't find Oscar. And City did smell the danger that time. There's Garcia. We tend to forget now that it was 1-1 at half-time. Chelsea composed themselves very quickly in the second half.
Goal red. Yo-yo. That time didn't try and step up. Saw the ball was going to be played in behind and read it and dealt with it.
Chelsea getting a step closer to maybe keeping the FA Cup in London, of course, held by Arsenal for the last 2 seasons. And Arsenal themselves held by Hull City from the Championship yesterday. It's a goalless draw at the Emirates. You were there, Stuart. I don't know how that replay will pan out. It's not a replay that either club particularly want, and replays in this competition are a bit of a thorny issue at the moment. Here's Kolarov. No chance of being a replay in this one.
Going back to that game, Hull won't pick a stronger side. In his press interview afterwards, Steve Bruce said these players have deserved another chance, a bit like Klopp said.
Hang on a minute, there's a mistake by Azpilicueta to give it to Iheanacho. And now Barker. Azpilicueta plays a part in giving Chelsea a bit more time. Barker again, and Azpilicueta again. He's trying to give Oscar a chance to take that on the burst. Barker blocking him. Hazard, who's enjoyed another opportunity to get some miles on the clock in a confident Chelsea team. Of course, at the start of the season, when everyone was looking at his shortfall, they weren't ignoring the shortfall of the collective. In the end, cost Jose Mourinho his job. But they're lighter in mood now, stronger in performance.
Good play by Willian. Step over, trying to get down the outside of Zabaleta.
5 minutes to go. Will Manchester City head home, where they'll drop off some of these players and then pick up some of the others, and then go to Kiev on Wednesday's round of 16 first leg against Dinamo. Parla back, helping out. I presume they meant the fourth official when he was standing up in the technical area. That's the only time it's...
Steve Holland hasn't been asked to change his...
No, well, he's probably not allowed to stand up. So. Here's Matic. That's the rule in the Premier League, that only one standing. I'm sure the fourth officials will say it's one too many sometimes. But here comes Kelechi Iheanacho. And they get Parla into a dangerous position again. They've shown a good understanding from time to time. It's been a collision off the ball now. And the referees letting City go on. Collar off. Fabregas is in pain.
It was a complete accident. Now Parla slipped over and he slipped right into Fabregas.
Collar off. There's a good hit. That was going in. Courtois had very little to do. And he was ready for that one.
Well, I thought that Kolarov was going to bend it in behind the Chelsea back four, but he went with power. It's a good strike and a good save as well. Hasn't had too much to do, Thibaut Courtois. I think he's shown a great attitude, Kolarov. He's been one of the better players for Man City.
And they have a corner. Rabiot is in there and attacking it was Ivanovic. Catching it at quite a low point was Courtois.
He just turned his hands round at the last moment, didn't he? He was going to catch it above his head. Always a risk if you don't catch the ball at its highest point. It's been a very comfortable second half for the home side. They've played some wonderful football, helped by, I think, poor defending by Manchester City's back four.
Which includes 3 senior players who've been banging on about the youth elsewhere in the team, and a goalkeeper who's also been around a lot. Here's Matic. He seems to be back in full working order. Back heel wasn't great for him. From Oscar.
Certainly my criticism wouldn't be so much of the players in that back four as the philosophy and the style and whatever they're trying to do defensively. And they must work at it on the training field, but I think it's flawed.
And in goes Hazard, and the ball's ended up in the back of the net. Hazard wasn't needed in the end. Traoré gives it the thumbs up. And they do have 5, Stuart.
They certainly do. It's a cross, an in-swinging cross into the box. He's got a lot of work to do. I think he just lets it skid off the top of his head. And he's had a disappointing game. Caballero, he thought that was going over the bar, but just crept in. Sets up the play. Oscar out on that far side, back onto his right foot, just whips the ball in. Well, I'm not even sure he's going for goal. I think he's just trying to flick that on. When it's going your way, it certainly does go your way. Hazard coming round the back. Caballero looks at it, maybe should do better again. Squeezes in at that far post.
It's definitely Traore's goal. He scored in the 4th round at MK Dons, and he's got this one to his name as well. And it just adds to what Manuel Pellegrini will have to deal with, I'm sure, from the assembled media at the final whistle. He'll stick to his guns, his priority. But it's an even bigger week ahead because of this. And now, well, we've known for some time, Manchester City are going to lose for a 3rd game in a row. 3-1 at home to Leicester, 2-1 at home to Tottenham. And here in the 5th round of the FA Cup, Chelsea have got 5 against a much changed City unit, if that's the right word. They haven't operated too often as a unit, but here's Barkley, took that well. Well, shouts for handball against Gary Cahill, arms down by side. Were they on their way down to the side when the contact was made?
That's what Barker can do. Talked about it before. That's how he plays for the U side. He almost stands on the touchline. They hit big diagonals to him. Great first touch.
They want to break again, and they are going to break again. Hazard's got Oscar to work with here. Let's just put the brakes on the pass. And City has spared a 6.
Still feel as though Hazard is lacking that little bit of confidence. That was a great opportunity, 2v1. He could run with it at pace, just kill off the last defender. Didn't do so. There's probably been the man of the match, Fabregas, in terms of his passing ability. I know he's not a good defender. I don't think he's a good defender. That was shown against PSG in midfield, but once he gets time on the ball against inferior opposition, he can pick out his passes brilliantly.
It's an old saying in football, you can only beat who's put in front of you. And Chelsea have done that. They've sorted it out in the 2nd half in spectacular fashion. And in these dying seconds, they go for Manchester City again. Willian had got that crucial 3rd goal of the afternoon, put them 2-1 in front. Followed by Cahill and Hazard's free kick and Traore's back header. 2nd half for Chelsea against City's 2nd string, you might call it. Hazard hit a vintage free kick in the help yourself time in the 2nd half. It was Cahill as well, with a good finish up for a set piece. Willian got it going in the 2nd period, and Traore got in on the act as well. First half was 1-1, and City had stuck at it, with Fapala getting a debut goal, but in the end Chelsea romped it. Chelsea 5, they're through the 5th round, Manchester City 1.